Thank you, sir. Well, good morning, everybody. I like the energy in here. If I haven't met you, my name is Chaplain Ryan Barang, Naval Base Coronado, which is the number one rated chaplain in the Navy. Come on, guys. Anyway, no, it is a very robust program. You can see our ad here, one of the fastest growing. I think we grew last year about 5,000%. No kidding. Anyways, fun fact about me, I am the only chaplain in the entire chaplain corps that's not old enough to drink yet. Okay, come on. You guys actually, Chaplain Grace as well. He's not old enough to drink either. Okay, so I know what you're thinking. I already know what you're thinking. You're like, ROF, I'm just gonna be on my phone this whole time, right? I could read your mind. So, by show of hands, how many of you are going to use ROF in this tour? Just raise your hands. Okay, Chaplain Guillory, number one rated priest in San Diego here. All right. Who else? So one person out of everybody here is going to use ROF, right?
How many are going to be tested on it?
Right? Yeah. How many? Chaplain Cameron's going to test you. But let me get here. So with that, I just want to say this. Don't check out. Why do we have to learn this? Why do we have to learn this? Because I don't want you to be what the French call les incompetents. Okay? Tim Keller wrote a book. Tim Keller was just a great author and theologian, and he's with Jesus now. But he wrote this book called Every Good Endeavor, and he talks about a ministry of competence. There's that saying, nobody cares how much you know until they know how much you care. Yeah, but I would say the opposite. I'm going to challenge that. Like if you don't know your stuff, there goes your ministry. Like if you're incompetent in chaplain corps and knowing policy, regulations, doctrine, the difference between an NTTP and an NWP or a SECNAV instruction like there goes your ministry. Like you can get away with that as a JG maybe or lieutenant, but after a while, the line officers are going to be like, do you really have a seat at this table? Because most of them think you don't, sadly, right? And so this is an area of ministry, even if you're not going to use it in this tour, where you say, you know what, I'm going to do my due diligence, and all leaders are readers. All leaders are readers. So you should be doing every day is reading instructions, reading all of this stuff so that when someone asks you, or so that when you get a chapel, you're ready to rock and roll. When I got to Naval Base Coronado, I didn't know anything about ROF. And RP1 Shawl is the best in the business. Anybody know RP1 Shawl? The best in the business, right? 5 chapels. I got there and I said, you know what? I'm not going to learn anything about ROF because the team just runs it, right? So, but I had to get into it. And then Chaplain Cameron said, surprise, guess what? You're going to teach ROF. So I started reading about it, right? So, without further ado, let's learn this. So start to look around you. We're going to break up this. It's a packed house. I've actually never seen this many people here before, sir. And we are short on time. So we're going to be big on interaction, small groups. So just kind of break yourself. You don't have to get up right now, but we're gonna do. Let's go with 5 different groups, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, and all the backseat Baptists will make you all one group there. No, that's not going to work because that's all the 06s back there, which they should be back there, and the juniors should be up here. Okay, so the 06s are going to spread out into different groups. Okay, does that make sense? All right, let's go. We're short on time. This training meets the requirements of SECNAV instruction. Just pop quiz for everybody. What is a SECNAV? I know I'm going really basic here. Yeah, but why do we have to follow this? What's instruction? What's policy? Right? I call them some of the JGs who just got out of their chaplain school. Should I pick on someone who just got out of chaplain school? Okay, so these are instructions, and this is one good thing to always tell yourself. Like, what's the 5-phrase word that's going to keep you out of trouble for the rest of your career that everybody in this room should know? What's the 5-word phrase that's going to keep you out of trouble? Yeah, I guess that works. What does the policy say? If you could ask yourself that every single day, Because people love to guess. Like, are we allowed to do this? I don't know. Or if you were the Marines, am I allowed to wear this like this? Yeah, well, you're the chaps. Just do it. You know, what does the policy say? Okay. All right. So these are instructions, right? And instructions, like SECNAV instruction, OPNAV instruction, Chief of Chaplain's instructions, is authoritative and directive. It's the opposite, not the opposite, but you know what doctrine is? Navy doctrine. Anybody know what's the difference between policy and doctrine? Well, policy prescribes, like this is what you will do, and doctrine describes. Okay, so this is something we can't deviate from. Those are instructions. Anytime you see instruction, that's synonymous with policy. Okay, so when you see instruction, you better pay attention like closely because you can't deviate it from it. Okay, doctrine, like our Navy techniques and procedures. That's sort of like a recipe that the chef gets, and it gives overall guidance, and they can deviate from it. Does that make sense?
Big picture.
Yes, big picture. But when it says the word shall, then you have to do it. But doctrine uses shall, should, may, and will. But this stuff says if you don't do this stuff, especially when it deals with money, someone's going to jail. Okay, so and it could destroy your ministry as well. So that's why we're paying attention today, because if you end up at a chapel, if you get the awesome opportunity of ending up at a chapel, which you should look forward to, this will make or break your chapel ministry, right? And we have a very robust ROF at Nucleus Coronado. Okay, so we're teaching this in the Court of Regulations. What's a regulation? And all these words are being thrown up there. You might as well know what they are. Where does it fit with policy and doctrine? So this is the highest level, right? A regulation, right, sets forth what's in policy, and then policy kind of guides doctrine, okay? All right, so what do we got here? Here's our objective. Just absorb this. I'm not going to read that to you. We're basically going to learn a lot. Okay, why do we have an ROF? Anybody? Let's be interactive today. What's the purpose? What's the purpose of ROF? When I first got chapel, I'm like, why are we passing around a basket? Why are we collecting money? Anybody? No wrong answers here. What do you think is the benefit of religious offering fund in the chapel? Anybody? Not senior people. I want to see some. Yes.
Increased capacity for your ministry.
Increased capacity for your ministry. That is awesome. Thank you. Yes.
Sir, allow people who part of their worship experience is to donate money. They can still do that in a legal manner.
There you go. Part of their worship experience. What some of my Catholic sailors have told me when Chaplain Guillory is doing mass, which you got to check that out. It's a very good mass, a very packed house. They say when they're in the chapel, it's like the incense, it's just the sights, everything. It brings them right back home. And if you grew up in a tradition where someone, like, you know, it's part of the service where they're giving, it actually it just sparks something deep down inside of like, I feel like a little bit of home, and that leads to their resilience. That leads to their ability to focus. It's like a good reset for them. What else? What are some other benefits of ROF?
Provides parameters for the use of those funds to protect.
Absolutely. Chaplain Curdy said it provides parameters to use funds, right? So for things that they want, so they don't go to jail for using the wrong funds, right? Chaplain Curdy, thank you very much. Okay. Why do we have an ROF? Who's served in a chapel before? Oh, that's a good amount. Okay, awesome. So from some of you who have served, what makes ROF so confusing or stressful?
Sir, the difference between appropriated and non-appropriated funds. There's a lot of people out.
Yes, and we're going to get there. Well, what's the difference between appropriated funds and non-appropriated? Is that chief or senior chief?
Chief, sir.
Okay.
Difference between non-appropriated funds is funds that the government has earmarked for use for certain things versus money that is not earmarked, things that are left.
Yes.
Used for certain things, and what you can spend those monies on.
Yes. Appropriated funds, non-appropriated funds. And the ROF is non-appropriated, yes. Anybody else? Any serving in chapel? What's, as for those who are looking forward to a chapel, what's, yes. 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 Where were you stationed? In Greece. Nice. Super. Yes, I was in Germany. And you'd get euro, you'd get dollars, you'd get Croatian kuna, you'd get things from all over the place. And sometimes here, someone, I don't know if they're trying to be funny, will put some foreign currency and it just jacks up the whole, it just adds so much stress. Please don't do that to us. The RPs hate it. In Europe, they're ready for it in Europe, right? Things come in and they just separate. All right, dollars here, euros here. I forgot what other countries, yes, but please don't do that. Don't ever do that stateside. The RPs will come after you. Okay. Let me see where you're at here. The RF provides opportunities within the CRP for religious expression. We talked about that. Chief talked about ROF as non-appropriated funds. Okay. So now we're going to get into this, some details here. Representatives will all be appointed in writing. Right? Our job, one of our jobs, is we got to keep our commanding officer out of jail. We're dealing with a lot of money. Typically around the world, I mean, the Catholic congregations, people, they love to give. In Germany, I think that was like a $50,000 ROF, right? So that's why we attention to detail, have everything in writing, make sure everything's documented, because this is not an area where you want to mess up, where you can afford to mess up. Proper training is required, and these are different roles and responsibilities. Okay, this comes down from on high. Anybody know who the current leadership is in all these roles? Anybody new in the Navy? You know who our CNO is? Admiral Cottle, right? How about on the Marine side? Who's the commandant? General Smith. Yeah, these people are very important. They write policy. It comes down to us. Okay, this training specifically made by actually area-wide training is Chief of Chaplains. This isn't region directed. This is like everybody will continue to get better. We have training throughout all the year. CEO of the Chaplain Schoolhouse. Who is that? Chaplain Varsoja. Yep.
Soon to retire.
Yes. Soon to transfer to First Civ Div. Yes. Okay. So here's what the commanders will do. Okay. You can read this. Just go ahead and absorb it. But these are all things that we do to just make sure that there are several layers, so we're not getting in trouble with all this money, right? And your SEALs are watching you. Your SEALs watching you. Like how's chaps and RP good at admin? Like all their ducks in a row, because your ministry to them is a ministry of competence, and being squared away in this area. You really want to be impressive? If you're even on a ship and you don't do RF, but you know these kind of things and you can talk to them, I'm telling you, that opens doors for your ministry. It totally opens doors for your ministry. And you never know when they're going to ask you, like, do you know about ROF? Right? Yeah, sir, I can talk to that. And because it's important, the commander is going to be involved in all this. By the way, for the new chaplains or new to the fleet, whose program is the command religious program? Yeah, that would be a good thing to constantly have in your mind. This is not my program. I manage it, but this is the commander's religious program. So you ask permission for things. Yes. I'll never forget one time. It was a learning moment for me. I was telling my CO something, and he goes, Are you asking me something right now, or are you telling me? I was like, whoa, this is a good learning moment. So I started briefing him after that. Here's what I recommend. Junior officers recommend, and senior ones suggest. So here's sir, for your program, here's what we have. Sir, I would like you to sign this because this is for ROF. All the admin squared away, right? And you have admin to go to have all these things squared away. Don't fight alone. And you go around the room and you network. This is what area-wide training is for. This is what PDTCs are for, is so that you leave here with a lot of people's numbers, a lot of people's names, and now I'm going to find all of you who are previous chaplains, and RPs. I'm going to get your lessons learned. Those are very valuable. So ROF Administrator, okay? Just give real examples. I'm the administrator for Naval Base Coronado. Okay. Wait. Let me go here. Command. Yes. The senior chaplain at the command, managing the ROF, approve and disapprove. Like I said, I don't have to worry about any of this stuff because my staff is so competent. I never have to worry about any of these things. But when in doubt, if you were stuck in a sticky situation, what would you do? If you're the ROF administrator and you're like, I don't know if this is, are we allowed to buy donuts with this? What would you do? Yes. Thank you, Chaplain Curdy. What does the policy say? You can do that. But you know who also has your back is the JAG. If it's a gray area, and even when you're reading policy, you go, I still don't know, go to the JAG. And every government computer now has the Gen AI, right? You can use AI. It's really fast, okay? So let's keep going here. EROF, electronic ERF. We haven't rolled this out at Naval Base Coronado yet. Actually, I mean, nobody has. We're waiting for it to, everything's going to go electronic. Like hopefully there's no installing chips on your hand and your forehead. But we're going electronic on a lot of things. So more to follow on that.
Is it giving to increase or decrease with ERF?
That's a great question, sir. What do we all think? Is giving going to increase or decrease with electronic giving? Potentially, yeah.
It's not real money, it's just electronic.
Crypto. Okay. So the custodian, so the RPs, this is you, and you want to have a good ministry as an RP. This is where it's at. Making sure your chaplain doesn't get in trouble, and your chaplain overseeing it, making sure the CO doesn't get in trouble. So read up, and share lessons learned. You know, the Navy has an official place where we hang all of our lessons learned. It's called NILIS, Navy Lessons Learned Information System. Has anybody been on that? Well, if you haven't, you need to. The account is free. It's my favorite price, free 90 free. You go and you email them, you say, I want an account, and then you have access to all the lessons learned. The problem with the chaplain corps, and I've been saying this for years, is we don't play like the line officers. So we're not sharing our lessons learned. And if we do share them, we only share them internally because we're embarrassed to put our name on something that's going to be on the internet. But you have to do this. Chaplains, you have to drive this. We have to populate NILIS. And if we have people putting things in NILIS, right? When you go to Joint Command, it's GILIS. When you go to Marine Corps, it's MICLS, Marine Corps Center for Lessons Learned. Like when I was with the Marines, you weren't allowed to go on Liberty until you had your AARs typed up and submitted to the OPSO. That's the way to do it. But we're going to keep stepping in the same pile of poop if we don't share lessons learned. Okay, so as you gather them, you through your ISIC, right? So all the ship's chaplains, you forward that all up to Chaplain Martin and Chaplain Grace. So they can gather those lessons learned and then putting them up. If you're an NSW, you forward them up to Chaplain Springer, right? If you're an AirPac, forward them up to Chaplain Pugh, right? And gathering all the lessons learned so that we get better and better at this. Okay, so custodians, more about that. And now we get into the sub-accounts. all of this is written. Has anybody read this here? This is the 50-page instruction here. It's all laid out here. Roles and responsibilities.
There's no sub.
Like Chaplain Cameron said, you got to read. Not all readers are leaders, but all leaders have to be readers. Okay. So here, sub-account representatives. Anybody in here a sub-account representative? Chaplain Guillory is the only one. Chaplain Guillory, would you just tell us what you do as a sub-account representative? Absolutely, thank you. So he said, if you didn't hear a sub-account representative, there's the ROF, and then there's the sub-account of the Catholic community. Now at Naval Base Coronado, we're headed this way, but the Protestant congregation is going to have an ROF, right? When I came, I inherited that we didn't, but we're going to change that. So in a more robust chapel, there would typically be 3 accounts, right? A Catholic sub-account, a Protestant sub-account, and then like a gospel service sub-account. I'm thinking about my last command where I volunteered at the chapel, so I learned about all this. And all these sub-accounts, they generated a lot of money, so they helped a lot of people, and we did a lot of retreats. And we covered a lot of, it led to people's spiritual readiness. It really did. I mean, those retreats were phenomenal.
Amen.
They were phenomenal. And they wouldn't have happened unless the chaplains did their due diligence to manage this budget and to disperse it. Dispersing is a huge thing of RF appropriately and prayerfully. Those group of chaplains in Germany were phenomenal. They actually prayed over it and said, what could we do with this money and people's generosity? So sub-account representatives, primary advisor to that ROF Administrator, he's my advisor, Chaplain Guillory, must be 18 years of age, so he makes that cut, right? And he submits a projected annual disbursement plan. And that Catholic community there, they do a lot of things. Every Sunday they do a lot of things. Okay, I'm going to highlight these. Actually, the chaplain schoolhouse highlighted these 2, so we'll talk about these 2, number 5 and 6. 5 says a chaplain serving as a sub-account rep may not concurrently serve as the RF administrator. Okay, why is this? Yeah, conflict of interest. Okay. Yes, a little accountability. Yes.
So, are there exceptions for ROFs that are managed chaplains that only have one chaplain? The old instructions do, but I'm not sure.
This new instruction, which is in this PowerPoint, actually was released this month, sir?
There's no exceptions.
Yes, it's policy. So authoritative and directive, cannot deviate from it. No double duties. Chaplain can't be both sub-account and rep. The chaplain also can't be the drawer boss for one group. Okay. Chaplain can't manage Catholic money requests and run the whole RF bank. So that's why this is a team effort. Okay. Let's move on here. The audit board, which we are drafting ours right now, consists of 2 members at the command. It doesn't have to be chaplains or RPs, and they conduct audits. So it's about accountability, and keeping us out of trouble. Thank you, sir. For those who have served in the chapel or observed, what's one cool thing you've seen the chapel spend money on? Like, that is a good idea. What have you seen? Anybody?
There's a unique experience about
You were in Germany and you used the funds to take a trip to Israel. Nice. That would be one thing I'd be, hey, Jag, is this okay? So Jag said, yes, this is good. What command in Germany?
it's actually
Air Force. Ramstein. Yeah? 9. Okay. So I'll just do one example. Our retreats were phenomenal. And at the end, so in the Army, they use what's called CTOF, Chapel Tithes and Offerings Fund. And at the end of the fiscal year, we said we have this much, and we're just whoever wants to come. So we just put everybody up at the Edelweiss in Garmisch, and we got to see a lot of people experience healing, and it was a great use. I'm glad we had it. Okay, so I want to get some interaction here with the group. So I got 5 scenarios. We'll just do this really quick, okay? So we get some interaction. We can split up some of the seniors in here, make it as diverse as possible. But I have 5 scenarios. Let's do a few minutes of discussion, and then we'll reconvene and we'll share. Each group will share. Okay? So let's do 5 different groups. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Make sense?
That's the thing. Like it was that deposited and there's no documentation. So what would you?
Okay, everybody, real quick, as we wrap this up. Scenario number 1, would you please send up a representative? Scenario 1, please send up a representative and give us an elevator speech of the scenario and the way ahead.
So the situation we were given was a local business owner gives a large check made out personally to the chaplain for whatever the church needs, no paperwork necessary. The chaplain wants a sound system. The first thing that was pointed out by my group was the fact that the business owner said no paperwork necessary. That's obviously the biggest red flag because there may not be any paperwork needed on his side, but definitely for our side, there's always going to be paperwork. So, yeah, I got a couple chuckles there. But besides from all that, if the chaplain wants a sound system, obviously you got category C, so that could either be funded with APR or ROF. That's something to take into consideration. Now, let's say if you have a newer chaplain that might not know, again, just take it to the JAG office, right? But it shouldn't be made personally to the chaplain. Let's say for some reason in this scenario, JAG says, okay, it's okay. It should be made at least to a faith group or whatnot. But unanimously, my group said, no, we wouldn't accept this check. So that's the answer to the question. Is what I'm saying making sense? I guess I made some sense.
All right, group number 2, please.
So we had the skipped deposit. Okay, 1 RP counts a loan, takes the sealed bag home, deposits it 2 days later, and there is no second counter, no documentation. It's pretty rough, yeah. So obviously, 1 RP counted a loan, that's an issue. 2, right? Takes the sealed bag home, deposits it 2 days later, and there's no second counter, there's no co-witnesses signing, and there's no documentations. Okay, so we're obviously going to call that sailor in, recover that receipt. We're going to make a memorandum for the record. We're going to question them to death, figure out what happened, what else happened, what are you doing? And then we're going to make sure that we have remedial training. We're going to document all that in-house, make sure that that's clear. And then the command chaplain will brief the CO, the commander, on what's going on. That way the investigation is clean and clear, pretty obvious what's going on there. And of course, they're going to want to find out from there. So that's it.
As group 3 comes up, is there an instruction about holding people accountable for PNC? Is there an instruction for holding people chaplains and RPs accountable? Anybody know what it is? Chief of Chaplain's instruction, 5351.3.
Scenario 3, situation, Bible study wants coffee, snacks, supplies weekly. And it says RP, run through ROF, skip APF. The discussion we had was, again, just kind of verifying what is the ROF, what are appropriated funds. And the result is, as we've always said, or said multiple times today, What does policy say? Refer to the instruction. In that instruction, the 7010.6 Charlie, it states, or it has a table that clearly lines out what is appropriated, what is not appropriated, and what can be both. And so what we kind of discussed and figured out is that buying coffee, snacks, supplies on a weekly basis for this specific event is a purchase that is authorized through the ROF. However, we will not just skip over, we will verify that this is something that is an authorized purchase through the ROF.
All right, group 4. All right, so our situation was a faith group announces charity offering without CO approval, and then the money sits in the general account for months. Just if you're going to have a special offering for a specific charity, that needs to run through the CO before you take the money. The sitting in the account for months wasn't as big of a deal for us as long as it did get where it was supposed to be before all the audits and all the paperwork is set up. But don't take an offering without making sure your CO is aware before you do it. Awesome. Rule for life. Rule for life. Oh, gosh. This is a rule for life. When you're not sure, ask. All right, group 5. Group 5. This is a real scenario too. The missing 20.
Really ratchets this up a little bit. All right, so the missing 20. Count sheet 240, RP loan changes deposit to 220, pockets $20, volunteer notices discrepancy. All right, so if the RP has in fact, this is an accusation against the RP for stealing $20. If they have in fact done so, it's a UCMJ violation, obviously. They are entitled to due process. So if you don't know, as you said, ask. We don't have to know. Talk to the XO, talk to your legal rep, your JAG, and say, how should we proceed? Do not undermine their due process, and don't put yourself at risk as well.
All right. Yes. Is that scenario, is that worthy of busting out Chief of Chaplain's Instruction 5351.3 for PNC accountability? Does that bring discredit upon the Chaplain Corps? Is that embarrassing to the Chaplain Corps? So it needs to be documented, and that needs to be pushed up for the instruction to the first 06 in your command. So chaplains, get reading on that. I know when we go to seminary, we're not really taught how to manage RPs. Nobody's taught that unless you had a chaplain specific track. But one thing you can do as time goes on, you just document things. You don't have to nuke it, but you have to document things. This happened here. Even if it's a one-off, you think it's never going to happen again, you just memorandum for the record. And then a lot of good counseling and leadership. So we are out of time now, and we're gonna break and get ready for the next training. But how was this?
Thank you.
Right? That was good. Let me close with this. You might not use this, but I hope you got the spirit of, all right, I'm going to step up my game, my ministry of competence, and learning instructions. If you want, I have all my notes up here if you want to learn more about this, but if you want to learn more about, I don't know, anything. We're here. There's a wealth of knowledge in here. Learn from each other. Yes, question?
No, sir, just lesson learned type of thing for ROF custodian, because I was ROF custodian in Japan. That's not really. Do a quarterly training with your sub-account and reviews of their spending. What we did as well is we actually got the JAG involved to review our folders of spending to make sure that there's nothing missing or anything like that.
Awesome. If you didn't hear her, she said encourages people to do quarterly training with the sub-account holders. At Naval-based Coronado, we're implementing this month Training Tuesday. Every Tuesday, our staff's going to gather around and we're going to learn something. It doesn't matter what it is, just some kind of instruction, some kind of doctrine, some kind of policy, some kind of regulation. With that, this concludes my presentation. Any saved rounds? All right, enjoy a break before we convene for the next training. Thank you, everybody.